What time is it?
Passa, passa,
Time.
passa, passa.
Time. Every gal, every gal, every gal, every gal. I go me a
Passa, passa.
don't stop, girl, wine, wine, drink until I get. Drink and rave till the morning light, my
What it? Center, have a shot, son.
uptown, downtown. You know who this is? Hot man, all of these them no bad like me.
First of all, hello. Hello. Hi, everyone. Second of all, this is our last episode of, hold on. Just realized my thing in the background was still going. Is it still going? Sorry. Okay, so this is our last episode of season 3.
Mercy.
I know 12 episodes went by very quickly. We did 12 episodes in our first season. It would have been longer, except some person just decided to go breathe and it just took up a whole heap of time. And I don't know why. I don't know who decides to do that. I don't understand who does that.
What is that? Oh God.
So we did 12 episodes in our first season. We're doing 12 episodes now in season 3. It's been crazy because we started in like September or so, and it's now June. We had as I said, a little break. But yeah, we talked about a lot of things this season. Our aim was to try and keep it short and sweet, be more natural in our conversations, not try to plan it out or, talk about things that, maybe we don't naturally talk about. So we try to stay with current event topics. So this season we talked about, I said I was going to look at my phone. We did the Olympics. We did vaccines. We did the cult episode. We did most recently the summer body episode. So we did a lot of like current event things that are going on. Jackets, things that were going on, things that were at top of our mind. I always personally try to throw in a episode on sex and intimacy into our season. Our first season we did, I think it was just called Sex and Intimacy. And we just talked about just our views on sex and intimacy, what that looked like. Season 2, we were joined by the monogamous team to talk about what that looks like outside of just our normal concept of heterosexual sex and sexual relationships. This season, we touched on sex and our introduction to sex a little bit. But I think I personally, and based on the faces that you'll see, the girls have no idea anything about this. I wanted to close it out with one of these conversations also, because I feel as Caribbean people, we do not talk about sex enough. We just do not. And that's just one of those taboo conversations that we have, that we, topics that we just don't bridge even like ever. We've talked on the podcast before about how our parents don't line up, how this really works. In school, they don't line it up. As adults, we don't talk about it. Even when we were talking about monogamy, everybody's, face was on the floor because we don't have these conversations. So, I just wanted to make sure that we close it out in a good way, in a way that is, something that we don't normally talk about. Maybe not out in the public, maybe as a girl group, maybe together, normally this would come up, but this doesn't normally come up as a topic that we want to talk about. So I have made an executive decision to talk about it. So today's topic, that's right.
Kick us off, Mish. Kick us off.
I mean, we're closing the season. We might as well do it in style. So the end of the season, we're going to talk about the orgasm gap. I actually most recently ever heard of the orgasm gap. Obviously, you know, that it must be a thing, but never really heard of it. So I kind of want to kick us off with a small poll of you guys. So if you think of people who orgasm in relationships, I guess, who orgasm in relationships, you have different types of relationships. You have women who are heterosexual, women who are bisexual, women who are gay, men who are heterosexual, men who are bisexual, men who are gay. I want you to tell me just
pansexual.
Wait, what? Oh no, these there is no
monogamish.
Yes,
girl.
but this is the 6 groups that they study. There is no study on pansexuals. Okay, based on these 6 groups, can you tell me to rate them? Well, you know, say most orgasms by, so every time I have sex, I have an orgasm, the most. Tell me what you think would be the rate. So for example, if you think bisexual women have the most orgasms out of everyone, you would put them first. So bisexual women, then whoever. What do you guys think it would be?
Say bisexual woman is number 1.
I was gonna say the lesbian.
Lesbian women?
Yeah.
Okay, lesbian women are first. Then, well, first, wait. Let's do one at a time.
Orgasm?
No. Okay, maybe we should start there.
You know why? Because I think maybe the gay men.
Okay, let's start one at a time. Let's go with
one at a time.
Yeah,
okay,
sure. Let's go with you. Let's hear your thinking. Let's you're thinking through it. Let's hear it.
All right, my thinking was homosexual men first.
Okay.
Actually, changed my mind.
Okay.
And then I don't really have a ranking, but maybe bisexual and heterosexual men.
Okay. Then that's 3 out of the 6. You don't talk about any women at this point.
Yes, I decided to put
the men are coming. The men are coming. Okay.
In my head, I was like, wait, do men not? Do they ever not?
Do they ever not?
Apparently.
So that's why I was like, let me fix it.
Apparently they don't.
Huh.
Then I want to put the homosexual woman, like the lesbian. And then I think the bisexual woman come before the heterosexual woman.
Okay, bisexual, and then so heterosexual is heterosexual women are the least to have an orgasm. Okay, Carrie, I'll leave Sofa last. Carrie, you go next.
I don't have a ton of stuff in the middle. I think gay men are having the most, and then men in general, the most. So all the people in the middle, and at the end of that totem pole are heterosexual women.
Okay. What about? Did you mention the bisexual and gay women?
They're in the second and third from the bottom.
Okay.
But
no particular order.
No.
Okay. Like it. So
what I would agree, I really think heterosexuals are dead last, because it's 2 different people.
Heterosexual men and women?
Yeah, just dead last, because it's like trying to figure out each other's body. So I just feel like they're dead last. I would say gay lesbians are
wait, gay and lesbian, because
no,
2 different
lesbians
things. Okay.
And here's why, because in the middle I'm kind of iffy, but I would say lesbians are number 1, because female, like, you know your body, and I just feel like if a guy truly know your body, know what works for you, then an orgasm is possible. And I feel like a female kind of understand another female's body better than a man would. So I feel like they will be number 1. I feel like the guys all the other guys fall in 2, 3, 2 and 3 and 4, and then you know the hetero whatever is at the bottom. But I kind of when Carrie said the men are coming, I'm like, that's true, you know.
Always.
They believe in it. It's a.
I just don't encounter.
It's true.
I don't think it's a thing.
It's true. But I think
I think we can have a good time and not
orgasm.
Right.
You don't think men can have a good time and not orgasm?
No, ma'am.
They can, but
I've never
see
seen it.
that happening. Where does that happen?
I've never seen it.
Maybe, but I never seen it.
I've never seen it. Cue the gospel song. We've never seen it. We just haven't. And it's coming up on 4 decades. We got four decades of research. Okay. We have not.
Not the gospel song.
That she just pull out. Who sings that song? Is it Kirk?
LGC. I don't know who's singing, but LGC.
She said LGC.
Oh, Jesus.
I never seen it. I heard the Sopranos kick in. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I need to know the response. What's the answer?
Okay, so let's do it. Which order do you want it?
From one.
Who's
One.
getting most?
Definitely heterosexual men, 95% of the time. 95% of the time are
We've never seen it.
Women, give yourself a hand because we're doing it for them.
That means honestly, they don't really even need. They don't just need to sneeze. They just need to sneeze. I mean, really, the barrier.
Wait a second. You said heterosexual men are number 1 on the list.
Right.
Wow.
For orgasm, the majority of the time. Right. During
Wow.
yes, majority of the time. Then comes gay men. 89% of the time.
It's a close second.
Close second. Yep. And then bisexual men, 88% of the
All
time.
the men, huh?
All
the
the
men.
Give them money. Give them a prize money.
And then lesbian women, 86% of the time, which also makes sense. I mean, if you think about it,
for the same reason Soph said.
Same reason, correct. I mean, heterosexual men, as I said, don't really need anything to.
I forgot
really
about that fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
Requires nothing.
They're watching a movie and it's like, oh, oops.
Yep, I'm actually surprised by the gay men because. As I said, they could sneeze and it happened. So it's what it is.
hilarious.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised by the gay men because I just imagine that gay men would like you. I am so bad with the understanding of how this works, but based on my understanding, you're receiving and you are giving, etc. So if you're receiving, I don't imagine that both of you are climaxing.
That's what probably is ruining their thing.
Well, it's still at 89%, which is pretty high.
We're having.
Yeah, but it's pretty high. So apparently they are figuring out that how to get them both to climax. So that's still
teaching classes.
Correct. In my world, we need to figure it out. Okay, so did I tell you lesbian women 86% of the time? And then after that comes bisexual women at 66% of the time. And at
I'm scared.
The men are jacking us up. Actually, the heterosexual women are not far behind. They're at 65%. But 5 years ago, it was like 35%.
Oh!
5 years ago.
I think what's happening, a lot of people have now introduced a lot of toys and stuff in the heterosexual relationship.
Yep.
So that's kind of helping.
Hip. It's not hip to talk about bisexual. Yeah. Well, you're bridging the gap, but it's still not bridged. So now the conversation is, how do we bridge the orgasm gap? Like,
and we are us.
Yes.
Heterosexual women.
Yes, because here's the thing. I mean, I can't ask a heterosexual man, how do you bridge the gap? They don't care about bridging any gap. They're at 95%. They're good. we're the ones that are not good. We're the ones that are only climaxing 60% of the time. So how do we
that number for us? I don't like that number for us. That's just crazy.
How do we get to 95% is the question.
How do we get to 95%? Come on, ladies, I want to hear. I'm going to get my paper and pencil.
Well, we do have a research scientist in the group. So how?
Wait, there was a series that used to come on HBO. Gosh, I wish I'd remembered this before the episode, about a lady in a time where it wasn't hip to talk about sex, was studying orgasm. Now I'm gonna have to look it up. Char, you're gonna have to insert it. We're gonna have to put it in the notes somewhere. And it's interesting because the women were still getting their orgasms, but not with men, not in heterosexual sexual encounters, not having penis sex. So I mean, they were having sex, just not inserting that kind of sex. So not in straight, I don't know how else to say it, honestly. I'm trying to be PG, but good Lord.
We get it.
Anyway, so what was with the face, Karen?
Trying to figure out how else is possible.
Were they having orgasms by themselves?
By themselves, yes.
Oh, okay.
A lot of it was by them.
Now.
A lot of it was
Right? You're doing it just
the math on that should be.
But that's a thing, because we as a culture, that is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. Like you're not supposed to be masturbating. Your sexual pleasure is not primary in any relationship. None of that is normal. I don't think. Maybe I'm crazy and I was raised in a place where that's not normal, but nobody said to me, or was it ever shown even after you become an adult, that, hey, you need to figure out what makes you happy, what makes you excited, what you enjoy, etc. In my world, sex was when this is so bad. I'm sorry, parents. Anyway, sex was when the penis became hard, and then it ended when it became flaccid. That's it. There was no foreplay. Nobody taught you that. There was no, how do you prepare yourself? How do you make sure that you climax? None of that. Even as an adult, that is not something that I learned until even after my children. And I'm being very serious. Even after my children, this is not something that to me was normal. So how do we change that? How do we change the culture of, this? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just normal and we just have to sit with this 60%, or
I'm immature because I'm thinking you need to thank somebody. I'm glad you've discovered things, and maybe that's who should be talking. Just kidding.
Right, but this is research. This is not like sexual research, like doing my own thing, but this is just finding it out separately, like, just like having these conversations open up more conversations. It's the same for me. This is how you find out. It's not like somebody in the bedroom is saying, hey, let me teach you X, Y, and Z. Nobody not teaching me. Yeah, old dog, you're supposed to know something.
I think that would be a good thing if somebody can say, come at me.
Let me teach you.
Yeah, no.
It's true. I'm watching P-Valley and I'm waiting for somebody to teach me how to do those moves. So I love a good teacher because I'm interested in learning a bit of those moves. No, in all seriousness, I do think a lot of it has to do with how we think about ourselves as women, right? Like we bring ourselves to relationships, and a guy, they're bringing themselves to, and they know what they want and they know how to get what they want. And anatomically, we are stimulated in different ways, right? So it's like, if we don't know how to get what we want, it's hard to teach someone else to please us, right? And then if we think that we shouldn't, or we don't have the, the agency to say that. It's not, womanly to tell a man what you want or show a man what you want, right? If that's taboo, then we don't make that clear. And so it kind of just doesn't happen, partly because we're not pushing that forward. Like, we're not advocating for ourselves in those sexual spaces.
Right. I agree.
It's definitely cultural.
Right.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a thing we discuss in our culture, period. So because it's not norm to talk about it, then you would have to be in an intimate relationship where there's a level of comfort, or have girlfriend relationships where there's a level of comfort, and then you broach, like you can start being curious and like talking about things. But yeah.
I mean, you don't know what you don't know until you know that you don't know it. That is literally what it is. And I mean, we as women who come from the culture that we come from also feel a lack of entitlement to that type of pleasure. Like, as I said before, the idea of sex is to please your partner. That's the idea. And it's not even just that. First, it was that you need to have sex to have children. And then it became, okay, well, you are now in a monogamous relationship. You need to please your partner. So it never is, you need to please yourself. That has never, ever, ever been a message, a story, a lesson, a nothing that I've ever heard, that I've ever, Sharifa.
Well, the irony of it is that we're at the bottom of the list, and truth be told, biologically, men need to climax to have kids because they are sending sperm or semen out. We don't need to climax to have kids. Our sex should be for pleasure. So we should actually be at the top of the list.
For real.
For real. That's actually a very, very good point.
For real. But we're not, because we are seen as a vessel. We're used for purpose. So they're outside of you just holding the sperm and making sure that I climax. What else is your purpose as a woman in these sexual relationships? I mean,
but it's almost like, it's like the sexual liberation of women can only sit with women, right? Men aren't going to take up that baton. Like, let me make sure I'm pleasing my women. You got a couple guys out here, they're professional playboys out here that they take that very seriously, but that's not a majority of men, and it's not their fight, right? They don't see it as their fight. So I think there's so many ways to advance that, even in simple conversations, like being afraid to say things to your partner. I remember a while ago, Samore, the comedian, made a joke, and she's like, you have guys out here running around with tiny penises and they never know it because nobody ever told them. And she's like, women need to tell men. And I'm like, it's a joke, but it's true. Like, women, we need to be honest with men about what they got going on, so that the next person, right? Like, it just increases self-awareness, and it makes that person better at what they're doing.
Okay, I don't know how that would make the man better, though. That would just ruin him.
Well, you have to come up with strategies.
Right.
You show up with your attachment or something. Like,
an extender, something.
Something. Solve the problem.
Wait, did you just say extender? That's actually a thing?
I was about to say you need to start focusing on other skills, but okay, we can do that too.
I mean, yes, so that's the thing, but when you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
So if you are in, for example, one relationship that's your first sexual partner, or you are in the relationships that you've been in, you have the same type of sexual partners, you don't know no different. You don't know to not know.
So it probably starts with us being open-minded, right?
Right.
Because if you're being open-minded and you're learning about yourself, and what you like and your sexuality, then you can bring that to a relationship. So it's not necessarily, I mean, hopefully you'll find a partner that jives with you, but you don't need the partner to do that piece, right?
That is my go-to to have a sex toy party at Char's house.
Okay, then. All right.
You just said be open to learning yourself. This not the spiel she just said?
True. This is what I heard.
I'm an educator, so I take information, synthesize it,
right,
summarize it, and send it back out.
Right. So then, if you're living by what you say, the sex toy party is coming to your house. Would you like it at Carrie's house instead, and you'll show up? Okay.
So what are you bringing?
I mean, we need to go through the list of toys at this point. How are we segueing? What are we doing?
There's a
you guys know there's this thing. I don't know if you've seen it on Instagram. Sorry, guys, just one detraction. I don't know if you've seen it on Instagram. I don't know if it's real either. Where the men are pressing some remote and the poor women are collapsing on the floor because she has some vibrating underwear.
It's vibrating underwear. It's right. I was gonna say it's not even underwear. It's the beads that they insert.
Like falling out, walking out the store. She presses on the remote and she falls out. She's like, ah!
That is an over exaggeration because you saw that what's his name did it, and I was like, where are you placing that?
Who did it?
Tay is not Tay. I forget. I don't know these people's names.
But I'm
bad at names. But
wait.
I have my curiosity was piqued, I must say.
See, that's good. Isn't that the point?
That is the point. I'm very curious.
They did a great marketing job.
Very interesting.
Wait, what? Wait, I'm so confused. I don't know what's
you
happening.
were saying, so ignore Sharifa. You were saying
wait, no. There's an underwear that you put
I'm gonna look it up.
I think it might be beads. It's either beads or an underwear. And it's
a remote control simulator.
And it vibrates.
Someone else has the remote and you have the device on.
Inside, right?
Inside of you.
And they're walking around.
I don't know
walking around.
And he's pressing different levels of vibration.
Right.
And the poor woman, and they're recording.
The poor woman.
I mean, maybe she's fine, but you know.
This is also possible.
I don't remember the name of the movie. But usually when I go watch a Netflix movie, I just watch whichever movie is number one on Netflix. This is my best way to choose a movie. Recently, I think maybe last month, I don't know the name of it, but it's no longer number one. There was a show on Netflix. It was number one. And I was like, what is this about? So naturally, I clicked on it. I skipped through. I didn't really watch much of the first episode. I was flipping through to see if anything about it, tickled my fancy where I wanted to finish it. I think it was episode 3.
It was a series?
Yeah, I think there was maybe 8 of them. I don't know how many of them, because I quit after seeing that one because I was just like, what in the world is happening? I think it was episode 3 or 4. I'm not sure which one it was, but anyway, there was an episode that the lady I skipped through it, so there's pieces of it that I'm remembering, but something about, I think it was the guy's birthday, and she was like, I already, what do you give a person that already have everything? Mm-hmm. So she was like, for his birthday, she did like a scavenger hunt, and the prize was her. Oh. And she was like tied up on whatever that was she was laying on, and there was like a whole tray of things that he was supposed to use on her.
If we go find this.
I was like,
yeah, but go look for this.
I was like, okay, I think I need to skip. I was like, it's like a whole tray of things. And I'm like, first of all, I was like, I have never seen, not one of the things on the tray have I ever seen before. I was so confused. So I was like, Sophia, should you watch it to see how he used it, or should you just?
And then she watched it.
No comment.
I was like, should you watch it to see how they were used, or
Hilarious.
should you just keep it going? And I'm like, I think I should keep it going because
Which, if it was any other way, ma'am, we would have kicked you off the show. Just let you know.
no, but that one, I don't know what the beginning was about. I don't know what the end was about. I didn't see anything else past that. To be honest, I was just like, an entire table. I kid you not. At least maybe more than 50 things that were just laid out on the table. And then she was like, do as you please. That was his gift. Sure.
That's amazing.
That doesn't sound amazing. That's so exhausting.
Well, she didn't say use all 50 things on me.
Misha said it sounds amazing.
Sounds amazing to me. The thing is that I realize how just unaware I am of.
That's what it taught me. Seriously, that's what I learned from it, because I did not recognize not one thing on that table. I wouldn't know what to do with not one thing on that table.
Right.
I was just sitting there going, this is a thing, this is real life, this is out there for real, for real? Am I living in a box? What is happening?
What if one of those things would guarantee that you could orgasm every time? You don't even know if that thing is out there. Like you have no idea if that's a thing that exists. Like you just have no idea. This is what I am always intrigued about. Like there are so much in this world that I am unaware of. And of course, there are things that are obviously not good for you. You know, I want to keep that away from me. But there are also things that I'm like, I am missing out in life. I am almost 40 years old. And there are just things that I'm like, I wish I knew when I was 20. Just things that I wish I was aware of. And not to say that 50 sex toys is one of them. But being open and knowing that there is a possibility for you to have the option to be pleased in that many ways is like mind-blowing to me. Like even if there's 30 of those 50 things that would please her, and 20 of them she knows he would like, I don't know, but just the idea that there are things that could bring you that much pleasure, it just absolutely blows my mind. I didn't even know that was a thing as an adult, which I'm like,
I learned more in that 5 minutes.
Man, you know it was longer than 5 minutes. I'm like,
that's how long I stayed with it. I learned more in that 5 minutes than I've learned in my almost 40 years.
Right.
We see.
Exactly.
I was
The
just like,
key is open-minded. Okay, so whatever age or stage you're at, open-minded is key.
Yeah,
agreed.
So,
open-minded, but also willing to be a rebel a little bit, right? Because I think there's a lot of things in place for us not to explore those things. Like a lot of people are always interested, but very concerned with, okay, that's a slippery slope. What if I like it? What happens then? Like, what will people think of me? What, blah, 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 right? The train of thought that we can go down. So even if you are interested, like my guess is a lot of women are interested in how to get themselves pleased more than 60% of the time. What pushes you beyond the interest and into action, right? And actually doing something about that. That's what I'm curious about, right? Like, because a lot of people are interested. I'm interested in a lot of things. I don't pursue them. So
and again, we're right back at culture. Culturally, some of these things are just despicable. Like you're just not supposed to.
Yeah,
it's not something you should do, talk about, or even imagine. And if you
I just want to know what the Bible says about sex toys.
not what the Bible says.
I'm just saying.
Bam.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh God, sorry. So keep going. The Bible says what?
I'm pretty sure it says it's okay.
You just
we need the exact verse. So when
I don't have a verse, but I'm pretty sure I have heard that everything is okay within your
the
marriage.
Bible says the marital bed is undefiled.
So do whatever you like.
Whatever you and your spouse deems pleasing to each other, Live your best life.
Only your business. Do it.
That is awesome to know.
She's like, I like that. I was
Good to do.
I'm getting married next week.
I'm done.
Well, if that's what it takes, I support it.
Just for that perk. Just for that.
If that's what it takes.
Just for that.
I like that theory though. Be a rebel. I like it.
I like it too, man. I like it. I support it 100%. Because if you go with the grain, you'll never learn a lot of the things. You're following the fish that are swimming. You got to be the other one to learn what happens when you don't. That's it. The way that you learn is by doing. And sometimes that requires doing outside of the box. So I am for this rebel life. I completely agree.
Listen to you,
Where I listen. We are here. Cause me hear something a while ago and talk about, yes, let's bring the sex dolls. And you were like, so what?
No, you said the way you learn is by doing. I was supposed to say, tell us more.
But this conversation is very much centered around this age group, right? Because young people aren't having this conversation. Young people are doing
the thing.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think that is changing. So
it depends on which young people to do, because young Americans are doing, maybe young Jamaicans are doing too. Maybe
everybody doing.
They all doing.
I sat in that
that's old people talk.
Monogamish episode, and they were talking about Yui, and I was like,
yeah, but they're our age, a little bit younger than us.
So I'm like, I clearly wasn't invited to the party.
You're right. So we're naive about those things. Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's an age element, I think, for sure. So that those numbers, I would guess, are very different for a certain subset of younger generation.
Disagree.
Yeah.
I think
you think heterosexual women aren't coming if they're younger?
I think so. I think because I think that the gap is still there for a lot of reasons. For one, for the idea of masculinity also, because, if a man is having a sex with a woman and doesn't have an orgasm, but the woman does, what kind of man is that? And then the idea of culture, the culture of it all, how we talk about it, as you said, I can have sex with you on the first date. You have no idea what I like, what I don't like, et cetera, et cetera. That is normal. Having sex is not what the issue is. I feel like young people are having sex and exploring their sexuality. I don't think young people know how to have the conversations about what they need, what's important to them. I don't think they're mature enough to have those conversations yet. I don't think they know how to I don't think they even know that they need to have these conversations. I don't think they're doing it.
Yeah,
I think men.
Mish, I think the conversation is happening more than we think is happening, right? Because there's certainly a more open discussion about sexuality and fluid and gender identity, things that we weren't even thinking about.
Right.
So
I agree.
The mere fact that you're exploring all of that is like, okay, well, you are better positioned because we were exploring, but we were exploring cautiously. I don't get that sense from young people. I think they're exploring with reckless abandon, as they
young people, and I can speak for seeing it multiple times. We talk, they do. So how are they getting their information? From the internet. Like I told you about my 5th and 6th grade group of 20 kids. What did they do? They went out and bought this book that's called 365. Now, what is that?
Mercy.
It's literally a position for every single day. And what were they doing? They were trying one every single day. So that's how
Wait, what grade is this?
5th and 6th grade. You heard me. 5th and 6th grade. Okay.
Ma'am.
365 days, a group of 20 of them, and every single day they'll meet at a different house, and they used to have this big old
stick up in because I don't want it to go too far. Don't get it twisted. Kids in Jamaica when I was growing up were doing these things. This doesn't blow my mind. This is not like surprising. That's not what I mean. What I mean is the gap is still there regardless of how you see yourself and how you are exploring yourself. This is what I'm saying. So lesbian women.
But isn't the way to close the gap, right? If our actions based on what we think. If young people are thinking differently about their sexuality and how they engage in sex with their partner, in my mind, that translates to different behavior as they get older. They're not going to be shy about saying what they want because they've been practicing what they want since 15. Now at 20, they know, don't play with me when you come in here.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
right, I think that's
So
sort
the
of
gap, that's what I am saying.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with the fact that the gap is closing, because as I said, five years ago, it was 35%. 5 years ago. It is now 65%. So I'm not saying the gap isn't closing, but at the end of the day, the women are still at the bottom. Lesbian women are still at the bottom, even though women know women. Like, of course, you know, people are people. But you know what, you know, you're going through, you know, each other, you know, your bodies, et cetera, and lesbian women are still at the bottom of the pack. So I'm not saying
women
that
are going to stay at the bottom as long as we're afraid to say what we want. We're going to be at the bottom.
Correct.
But
so I'm not saying that it won't hopefully at some point close. I just don't know that there is still going to be the generation of people like ourselves, and this is not even generational when it comes to age, generational meaning culturally, who are raised to believe that your sexuality is based on one thing, something completely different. There is going to be a group of people, and probably the large majority of people, who are now exploring, you know, their sexuality, what that looks like, what's important to them. But there's also going to be the other groups. It's inevitable.
There will always be that minority.
Right.
I don't think you're ever going to get rid of
there will be. But what I think is also happening is people are changing how they identify, right? So people are like, well, I don't identify as hetero, I identify as bi, or I don't identify at all with the gender, right? Like, there's so much change happening in the markers that sometimes it gets hard to compare apples to apples because people are identifying differently at different times in their life.
Right.
So it's like, you're right. I think all of this is within context. Like, okay, this is what the data says, but what else is happening that affects that or influences that?
Yep. I mean, you definitely could have a woman that's identifying as a man that is, you know, how do you classify that when it comes to the orgasm gap?
He's identifying as a man and having hetero sex.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Correct. Because that really happens. I mean, that's very normal. So,
we need a professional next time to answer these complicated questions.
I know no professional. If you know a professional, send them my way.
I mean a professional who went to school. I mean the one who have lived the life.
Okay, girl. I am all for I just wanted to start these conversations because, as I said, I don't think that we have these conversations enough. We talk about, you know, our friendships and, you know, things that are happening in the society, which is all I love it. I love having those conversations. Those are definitely important. Especially when we look back on it, we can see how our views change. We could talk about things as they progress, etc. Love that. But there are just certain topics that we try not to, it's not even consciously that we don't do it. It's just things that we don't talk about naturally, that I want to make sure that we still do. So I appreciate y'all for entertaining me.
That's a good thing. You surprised me because I would have talked you down. I'd be like, no, ma'am, let's try something else.
Exactly.
So you smart.
Next time.
I don't know if we talked about it at all or mentioned it, but who your partner is and their openness and your kind of like relationship is very important.
Agreed. Yep.
Very true.
Okay. Next time we have this conversation, everybody is going to be tasked with bringing their favorite sex toys. Okay, bye guys. I love y'all.
But suppose it's attached to a person.
What kind of sex toy is that? Tell me more.
I'm just asking questions. I'm usually just general.
Bring the person.
Take a mold.
Oh, this is complicated now. I just told you to bring the person. Carrie's talking about me. Just bring the person. Just bring the person.
Now that gets complicated.
Oh, gosh.
And then you
Anyway.
have those that say, what if it's attached to me?
Anyway, season 3, we appreciate y'all. If you have been sticking around for 3 seasons, please hit us up on Instagram and let us know. If you're new, let us know that too. Hit us up on Instagram. We will shout you out. We may even have a prize for you. A surprise, not a prize, a surprise. Shout us out. Well, hit us up, slide into our DMs if you've been around for a while, especially. But if you're also new, hit us up also. Char, what's the handle? Relationship Pasa Pasa? God, I'm so bad at this. I should be fired. But anyway,
hold on.
see, now Char gotta look it up because old age is
Relationship Pasa Pasa podcast.
There you go. Relationship Pasa Pasa podcast. Look us up on Instagram. In the meantime, in between time, it's the summertime. Enjoy the summer. Please don't do everything crazy. Please do everything crazy.
Be safe and have fun.
COVID is still a thing. Be safe.
Yes.
Sure, that's a disclaimer we have to say, but everything, but everything. Explore, be open-minded.
When we come back, she will bring up all of the everything that she did.
I will bring nothing. I will watch everybody else bring everything.
Mercy. Leading us astray.
Leading us. You something about it? This is what I'm talking about. Know your friends, man.
Leading us astray. This has been amazing. Thank you all for a great season. This is great.
Yay.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened. It got so hot.